AI is changing a lot for big businesses just as much as it is for startups and founders of new companies. Today, we want to look into advice of some industry leaders and reflect on their opinion.
Let's do this.
All right, welcome back to the Aiku Show, your most favorite show, and to episode numero 5. It is today about the a Google Cloud report, where they have published a piece on the future of AI. Wow.
Yes.
And it is dedicated to or it has a dedicated focus on startups, let's say. And the report covers predictions, advice, and some perspective of industry leaders. And it has a total length of 75 pages. So
Very big file.
yeah, man, it has like 100 megabytes or so. Like seriously, I needed to compress it to store it like elsewhere. So a lot of pictures. Anyways, that's
A
not
lot of information. So founders.
yeah. Go and help yourself. Like check it out.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. What we want to focus on are 4 pages where they put out like 22 statements, basically advice pieces from the larger ecosystem of the AI industry. So these are some founders, tech people, and VCs as well. Some of the points are rather general. Soraya and I have joked like it's ChatGPT advice.
Potentially.
Some are quite specific and insightful. So
Yeah.
since there are so many, we don't want to discuss all of them. We just highlighted a few and want to roll through them one by one and basically share our opinion. And that will be like how it goes. We want you to note that we don't have any affiliations with the authors or like also the original report with people who quote something, whatever. We're not paid to do this here. We just pick some report that was circulated in the industry and share our comments.
Yep.
This is what we do. All right. Now that everything is clear, let's dive right into it.
Let's delve into
another ChatGPT word, I reckon. Okay.
So we're much more like LLM now.
Yeah, it's like Soraya AI or so.
Delve into is such a
ChatGPT word.
ChatGPT. I've never used that word in my life so much before I knew ChatGPT.
Yeah. You can really tell. Like sometimes also the structure. If you like receive some email of some salesperson, you can tell right away. All right,
that's ChatGPT.
Exactly. Anyways,
all right, let's do this. But I mean, just to give a context and my opinion on this report, it's pretty comprehensive. It's not only about the advice for founders, but also the AI prediction. So we have covered AI prediction from the StatWorks report. So if you have missed that or you're new to this channel, have a look into that because that's completely interesting. So I think this is much more on AI founders with AI prediction and building AI company or building startups with cloud or something like that. But as we all know, each report has different characteristics. So I think this one is also worth checking out.
Yeah, true. And I think not like usually it's predictions or so. People try to be smart, but here it's people trying to give their wisdom and advice.
Yes,
it's
so a
it's a
lot of
different spin of
quotes.
things.
Yeah.
And therefore like interpret it in such way. So this is what we try to attempt as well. But if you read it yourself, like make up your mind and be critical of as you go.
Yep. All right.
Numero uno,
Numero uno.
align pricing with value delivered. Don't just use per seat models,
Mm-hmm.
but consider usage based or value based pricing. Your pricing should reflect the value your product provides to users.
Mm-hmm.
That is a quote by a partner from a VC,
Mm-hmm.
um, Altimeter Capital. It's
Yep.
Apurv Agrawal. Um,
Well, I think this is the time for that. So we have seen many companies have adjusted their pricing strategies, and I think if we remember how software as a service was being introduced about 10 years ago or even earlier, there was also a kind of revolution. And I think that with value based and usage based pricing, it's probably the time to make it even lower the barrier for customers to use your product and your software, let's say, but also to have it perceived that the more you're using it or you find it useful, then it is worth it to pay more. So I think from the founder's perspective, it's really important. So it's not about you have an account, but you use something and then you take that based on the use. Yeah.
hmm. You know what I'm thinking about now? It's how OpenAI is trying to sell or is apparently hitting the market with its agentic AI with like the operator services. It's being rumored that they gonna phrase out offerings that go are like in the range of like 2,000 and 10,000 or even more dollars per month, basically subscription,
Hmm.
and this is like going against it.
Yeah, it's
So
tokens,
so
right?
I'm wondering what would be like new pricing models also for the like most advanced AI services that you as a
Mm.
user want to use or as a company want to use,
Yeah.
because this these models where you just subscribe on a monthly basis, it's it's a little bit flawed if you want to use many tools. I think many users want to, or many people that I see, they use as well ChatGPT and Gemini and Perplexity and Claude and whatnot. Right? They use everything, but they are not ready to pay a subscription fee with every service, and therefore something that is usage based makes sense. Maybe you want to use like one platform where you have access to all models. Some providers do that as well. We have to see that as well. But and then you only pay for the usage, like as it's a platform service. Um, yeah, I'm curious how this will continue with new models being rolled out, new
Mm.
services being rolled out as well
Yep.
in general, like in the larger AI space.
But what's your take on that? Are you more comfortable to subscribe and then pay per month and knowing that you will have all the services for you being right there for you? Or you like to have a few subscriptions, they're very low in terms of cost, and knowing that you can use any of the tools available when you need that.
I'm way too stingy. Yeah. So I would clearly call out like a no to
And you
general purpose subscription where I don't have any value from that. So um, yeah, pay as you use. And then I mean it has to feed back to me taking benefit from that as well.
yeah,
So yeah. Anyways, I think
but I think it sounds like it's new, but it's not. If you remember how it used to be with mobile phone subscription,
sure.
and if you use it per, like prepaid and postpaid, it's almost close to that. So I think the competition has arrived to the place where it's almost perfect competition. Yeah, almost like a red market. quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let's go to the next quote. We have something to cover here. I quote: "You need some engine of value creation that gives you the ability to persist an initial advantage following the launch of an AI enabled offering, either data generation for continuous improvement or network effects. It's not enough to just be an LLM wrapper." I like this one,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, I think in the last 2 years, particularly after the avalanche success of ChatGPT, there were a lot of people who thought like, okay, let's bring this, let's just dock on some generative AI providers API and make this large language model do something for our users in the back, and we just provide the user interface and it's good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they and I sometimes talk to startups, but also other companies who are in the phase of designing their products, that don't actually think of this AI flywheel where your model tends to get better the more data it has, right? And then the better your model, the better the experience of users, the better experience for users, the more they will use it, the more data they create, the better your model gets. AI flywheel. And in and also, like, if you then network effects, basically same thing, right? The better this thing works for one user group, the more it will accumulate users there, and so on. So I think these have been tricks that we have already seen working in the age of classic traditional AI machine learning. It still works,
Yeah.
even though you might need less data, which is a blessing, I think, with few shot or multi-shot prompting. Um, you can realize very good results even with little data. You don't need big data, but then it needs to be baked into the product, or let's say overall value proposition, in such way that you actually gain a competitive advantage through it, so that it's hard for your competitors to mimic what you do, because to them it's also very easy to just connect to the API of some large language model provider,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, some startups or some companies, they are racing to be the LLM wrapper. But if you are fast enough to hit the critical mass and specific enough to gain the network and the customers who are willingly and wholeheartedly using your products or sharing among the community, then it is likely that they gain more quality data, more feedback, and therefore a better technology. So I think it goes down to who are you targeting and whether you are obsessed enough to look into what these people need,
Mm,
because there are so many, I don't know, let's say social media or so many type of applications out there, but they're always different customers, so they are always different persona. If you gain that critical mass and can expand from that, I think that's a bigger chance. But if you don't have any values and don't have any competitive edge based on that, just the speed, it is likely that the product will die.
yeah, exactly. It's very hard to mimic. That's the issue. All right. I want to pull out a quote which continues on the one of your thoughts that you have just mentioned, and it is: find something people really care about, ship it as fast as you
You
can,
can.
test whether people care or not, and then iterate from there. It's
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So
Do
I
you care about this new application with new LLM models that we We update every day. Oh, thank you. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I like that this advice here starts with, yeah, what people really care about, right? Because in a time that we are in today,
Yeah.
where we see tremendous advancements in technology, AI is advancing like day. It feels like day by day there is something like crazy happening, right? Even though it's not, but it just feels like we want to put technology first, this tech first thinking, and forget to actually focus on the problems, right? And this is a reminder: just focus on the problem
Yeah.
and ship it as fast as you can, whatever tech it requires, and test whether people care or not, right? You just need to understand, like, okay, they have an issue. Can I fix it?
Hmm.
How much have I fixed? Well enough or not?
Yeah.
And then iterate.
Yeah. I think
That's it.
this is the way to go for founders. I mean, who doesn't know? As founders, you have to move very fast and you need to test. So you're like a half innovators, a half like a crazy scientist, and a half crazy salesperson, right? So you have to be able to juggle in between. But if you don't test it out fast enough, maybe somewhere, someone, people also are doing that, and you don't gain that critical mass or the speed. And if you find something that is really advanced but people don't care about, it also doesn't matter. So founders, we feel you.
Feel hard. Okay, good. Yeah, the next quote that we have picked is sort of yeah, picking up from that, or let's say is diving a little bit deeper into it.
All
Shall
right,
shall we delve into it?
delve into it.
All right. The most impressive founding the most impressive founding teams are fanatical about documenting, codifying, and measuring their processes. They want to be the best at testing out best practices, writing down what works, and sharing it across the organization. I've found that having a culture that appreciates documentation within reason is related to operational excellence in other ways. So this is another VC person, Crystal Huang, um, and yeah, it's like a very outside view on founding teams, like as they evaluate them. I think.
Hmm.
I guess we can share more of the inside view, I suppose, right? What would be your take?
I think that's very important. And it's also, to me, it relates to sustainability. So it's not sustainability in terms of environment, but you're moving so fast, you probably break things, and you don't understand all the documentation or what's the history behind it. That's not sustainable.
Hmm.
And keep your development team or your team in general keeps changing. You really need a very well documented information for your products and the company.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so too. To me, it's in the, like, you call it sustainable. I would refer to it as well, next to that, as reliability as
Okay,
well,
yeah.
and how can you gradually build up on something that
Hmm.
has been there before. And it's totally fine if you break a lot of things soon in the process, then you get better by the learning experience, right? It's just how it goes. Therefore, I could not agree more in that esteem that you want to get better. Just really being obsessed about making this one thing better, and then making sure to write down everything. I guess one great example is GitLab as a company. Like, they have this idea of being a super open company, and they share, like, as close to everything as they can on like publicly available wikis on about like their company vision, mission,
Mm-hmm.
products, whatever. As many meetings
Mm.
that they internally have that they can make public, they make public, and so on. So they really drive it to a
Yeah.
fair extent. But you need to make it like this doesn't happen by mistake or so.
Mm-hmm.
It happens by design. So GitLab, for instance, I mean, it's a code versioning company, right? So
Yeah, they will have to
they
embody, the values. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, like, I think the values were there before already, because the founder said that he just was frustrated with explaining things twice or three times, so he started writing it down. And
That's a good one.
this is like, so, version control software engineering, right?
Yeah.
So he starts writing it down and sharing it across the company, and then the whole company does it and adopts to it.
Yeah.
Such processes or organizational culture and patterns and so on, they stick after all.
Yeah.
No, so it's a
Well,
great example, I think.
I think that what I really like about the quote is that there's a bracket with reasons. So there's an emphasis of having a good strategy to that, because I also heard how people or how companies make documentation without proper strategy.
Yeah, we're in Germany. Like, what do you imagine? People have
So
like
I really
the
heard
print
horror stories about it.
print out folders everywhere, whatever,
Yeah, I don't know whether, like, you guys, if you have any comments about this, please write down, because we also want to hear from you, or especially for the engineers, the coders, because I also heard some companies require to have screenshots, for example. So
Yeah,
I don't
financial
know.
industry. Yeah, yeah.
So sometimes it's also our job to, let's say, give information on how good design of documentation or strategy to our colleagues. So this is not probably your job description, but it requires a lot more collaboration, let's say, because some people just don't, they are not into this industry and they don't know what best case practices are. So I would encourage to also,
Mm.
see how you can collaborate, and how you, as an engineer or software engineer, coders, provide the best case practices for your colleagues, so then this don't happen anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And it's always easier said than done. And as soon as you move closer to practical
Yeah.
application of this like larger idea or conceptual idea of you need to document as much as possible, then it gets
Hmm.
getting harder. But I have another quote
Yes.
which can give you a glimpse of how, also as a technical person, you can, let's say, embrace this culture a little bit, and it would help the entire company. So it's CEO and co-founder of LangChain, Harrison Chase. Prioritize evaluations. Develop develop evaluations immediately to better scope the problem. Having clear metrics and ways to assess the performance of an AI system are crucial from the outset. I really like this
Hmm.
because also, from the outset, he says that last. But as you start designing your product and then crafting and building your solution technically,
Okay.
you think of testing it and evaluating it early in the process. That allows you to, number one, always ask yourself, do we actually deliver on the value proposition that we want to see with our users that have problems, and we try to fix it?
Yep.
And this is also what should reflect in the metrics.
Hmm.
It's not in the quote here, but what metrics should you use is
Yes.
always a good is the next question, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
How should your evaluation be designed? And here, of course, the better you can tie your evaluation metrics to the actual user outcome, and the better you can test and evaluate that a new spin, new feature, new development of your overall system delivers better on something that users really appreciate, and then you can see it also in the usage metrics, the better it is, right? So you have a big experimentation and research lab,
Mm-hmm.
basically, other
Mm-hmm.
than guessing, right? Because that is the killer if you are just guessing without feedback.
Is it still happening?
It's not straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
It's not straightforward, and it's not intuitive, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
To build all of these tests as early as possible, because the first thing that you want to see is it works. All right, let's just ship it. When it works once is good. Then you make an additional feature, and then you build one feature on top of the other, and then you want to test two features,
Yeah.
and then testing is harder for the second feature if you don't have an automated testing and evaluation mechanism that runs as you ship the second feature
Mm-hmm.
automatically, right? So if you have to to exponentially, or
Mm-hmm.
like even scaling linearly, if you have to test everything all of the time, the bigger your solution, the more testing you need to do. And therefore, this overall evaluation and testing has to just flow automatically on a bottom line without additional effort.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
you pick up speed, of course, right?
Yep.
Because once your product gets bigger and you need to evaluate more, it takes more time,
Mm-hmm.
then that's a killer. But because you want to move fast,
Yeah.
right? And this is where companies that have a very good culture in this outperform those that have not.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point. But I also wonder, so founders, if you have any comments on that, I would like to know whether you already prioritize the evaluations, because I think that we want to move so fast. It's about, getting the next iteration or next features and see how we can test it out. But sometimes you just don't have time or capacity to, evaluate. And we are always under the pressure of time. And some of us are under pressure of investors, for example. So let us know what you think about this, and your best, let's say, evaluation strategy, or um, the test development TDD strategies. We would like to know.
Definitely. There is one last advice that I really, really like,
Yep.
so I want to pick it up. And it is by co founder and CEO of Photoroom, Mathieu Rousse. Design your experience in a way that helps people accomplish their goals without having to use prompts. So don't make
People.
your users write
Pro-
prompts, people. That is like
Interesting, right?
that is what he says. So what do you think?
I think I think that would be the next thing, because prompting, I think we have discussed about it, and this is why we also created our prompt lab. It's not straightforward, but we're still doing the test. We're still exploring and, yeah, figuring things out. And I think that many LLM companies are also figuring things out on the technical back end. But if you don't have to prompt, and conveniently log in and already have things achieved for you, maybe it's like a button or conversing. I don't know. Like, I don't have any ideas right now, because yeah, like it should be also highly contextual what we're talking about right now. But if you can achieve your goals in just like one step, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and I think the issue with prompts is that it's not straightforward to write a very, very good prompt.
Hmm.
And the and every new chat that you open is basically a clean slate.
Hmm.
And that can be similar with users on your application, that they don't find like pre-populated prompts for you, or like whatever. Like it's as if you need to submit a form somewhere, and every single time you need to fill out every single field in the form, even though you know that it could be stored in your browser cache or so. You know what I mean? So people, of course, will not appreciate that. That is one. And number two is like, I don't know. We've been prompting a lot, right? And do we actually enjoy writing prompts? I don't think so.
But
It's
it's
not
better
so.
than none. It's better than like not having a
That is true.
Gemini or
Yeah.
GPT or
Yeah, but is but then alternatively, as a user, if you have two applications, one lets you write the hell out of your keyboard, and the other one is like, okay, I understand you, whatever. You just provide me minimal context, um, and then I search for you. I search your profile. I search your website. I will draw in information from the internet, whatever. And you don't need to tell me so much. And here are some options for you. Click this, click that, and then it's like basically building up for it. It does a service for you because it's like so freaking intelligent, right?
yeah.
So I would prefer that other thing a lot more, right? Because if I would need to type all of that into a user interface, no, just no, right?
Yeah, I mean, prompting has a lot of challenges, and we talked about it about consistency and lack of context. And they will this LLM, if we give examples, they will just quote our examples back, and you open it after a week and you feel like you start from zero. So a lot of things needs to be refined, I feel. But I also don't know yet how it will look like, without a prompt.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like, would it be just video input or talking into it or whatever? We shall find that out. I think that is
Yeah.
something that also is a call to all of the
Yeah.
startuppers of the future. So if you're now thinking like, gosh, what, this is the level of advice that is circulating in the industry just now. I can do better than that. Yeah, then do it, people.
Do
This is
it,
our
test it,
motivation. This is
move very
we
fast.
also do that to motivate you, so you can go out and create the heck out of whatever you think AI can do. And this is also like why we share this
Yeah,
like advice. Um,
because that also that's very helpful for us too.
yep, exactly.
We're in this together, founders.
Yeah, let's rock and roll. Okay, good. All right, people, that was it with today's Aiku show. And should you have missed any of our episodes that we have recorded so far, be it about the trends or our latest news section
Hmm.
or any other thing,
Yeah.
then go out and make sure to resume that. We assume it's fun. Like, it's fun for us. Probably it's fun for you. Never mind. Like and subscribe.
And
And
also give comments and let us know what other topics you would like us to cover.
good point. And as usual, stay with us and enjoy your most favorite show, The Aiku Show, the next time. See you!
See you! Aiku. What I can do.